You know the G1037Z can chew through material in planer mode to get you that perfect finish thickness for your project. But this compact machine also quickly and easily converts to handle molding knives up to 4 9/16 of an inch. Follow along here as I walk you step by step through converting your machine to molding knife mode. But first, a few quick tips for getting the most out of your setup. Remember to always have your feed rate configuration set to 12 feet per minute, and I'll show you that shortly. Also remember to never remove more than 1/8 of an inch of material with each pass. Any more than that and you risk breaking your knives. Plane your molding stock to within 1/16 of its final thickness and cut it to 1/8 of an inch of the final profile if both edges are being trimmed by the knives. If just the face of the molding is being profiled, cut the material to its finished width before profiling. Also, try to plane the material with the grain to minimize potential tear out. Never operate in molding mode without a bedboard, which we'll also cover shortly. Now, let's jump into converting your G1037Z. Always remember to disconnect your machine from power before performing any work on the machine. Let's start by changing the feed rate gearing from planer to molding mode. Included with your machine is 2 additional gears, a 57 tooth and a 20 tooth. Remove the installed gears to take the machine from 24 feet per minute to 12 feet per minute of feed rate. Then reinstall the washer and cap screw, securing each gear. Next, we'll install the molding fences and bedboard. Included with your machine is a fence guide rod, 2 guide fences, and associated hardware. Connect the fence guide rod to either end of the table, being sure to not fully tighten the screws just yet. Install the molding fences onto the guide rod. Cut a bedboard 17 3/4 inches by 13 inches out of 1/2 inch thick material and install it by using 1/2 inch tap screws with washers from beneath the table in the mounting holes. With the bedboard installed, adjust the fence guide rod brackets until the fences lie flat on the surface of the bedboard and tighten the cap screws. Now we're on to setting up for molding. Loosen the wing nuts on top of the machine and slide them to the Moulder setting, then retighten. Remove the dust collection assembly and chip deflector. Alright, so we've gone ahead and set our gears to the 12 feet per minute feed rate. And now it's time to install our molding knives. Now, if you're using a molding knife that is 2 inches or smaller, you can go ahead and use the pre-installed gib. Now that is dead center of the cutter head, so what you're going to actually do is keep the knife in place and the gibs that support the knife there as well. Then you're going to go ahead and actually install the 1/8 inch thick knife into the slot, making sure that you'll follow the same procedure that we use with our larger knives to make sure that the offset is just perfect for each knife. Then you'll tighten down the gibs that come with the machine. So that's how you install a 2 inch or smaller molding knife set. Now, the larger knives are a little bit more complicated, and I'm going to walk you through that right now. It's important to wear gloves while handling knives or working around the cutter head. Loosen the gib set screws and use the included brass drift or a small piece of wood to tap the gibs down into the cutter head slot. Remove the gibs, spacers, and planer knives. Larger knife sets include a gib set specific to the knife. Install the first knife profile and loosely tighten the gib. It's very important to fully seat the knife into the bottom of the cutter head slot to ensure an even cut. Next, install the L gauge to the top of the machine and adjust it until it lightly touches the edge of the knife, then tighten. If needed, adjust the chip deflector to ensure the knife profile has good clearance. tighten the Gibbs set screws evenly, just enough to keep the molding knives from moving. Then rotate the cutter head and repeat for the remaining 2 knives. Set the knives so they butt up against the L gauge. With the alignment set, tighten the Gibbs evenly. The lock nut shown here should be no more than 4 threads from the top of the threaded rod. Rotate a knife face down and raise the table until 1/3 of the knife profile covers the end of the stock. Loosen the lock nut and evenly rotate the left and right infeed roller adjustment screws until the infeed roller lightly contacts the stock. Repeat the adjustment for the outfeed rollers, then remove the stock. Reinstall the table height hand wheel and rotate the handle a half turn to set the preload. Reinstall the dust collection assembly. At this point, the knives are all set up and it's time to fire up the machine. So we're going to put on some PPE, fire it up, let it run for a few minutes. After the initial run time is done, disconnect the machine from power and retighten the Gibbs. There is one final step to complete prior to operation, and that is aligning the fences to your molding profile. There are many knife profile options available, so setting up each style will be slightly different, but regardless of the profile, you should have several test pieces on hand that match your final stock dimensions. With our rollers and table height set, ensure a knife profile is facing straight down toward the bedboard. Place a test piece onto the table and move the fences until the knife profile aligns with the workpiece edge. With through-cut molding, the knives will overlap into the cutaway area on each fence. And with the face molding knives, the fence also features a cutaway on top as well. Put on your PPE and turn on your dust collector. Let's run a test piece. Now that we've run a test piece, we can make note of the knife alignment and adjust the fence as needed and repeat with another test piece until the knife to fence alignment is set. Once you're done there, you're good to go. An important thing to remember is to always support your workpiece on the outfeed side of the machine as it finishes the cut. With through-cut knife profiles, it's very important to help guide the molding straight through the cut area as it finishes, as the edges of the molding will have been removed. The infeed and outfeed rollers will supply the downward pressure and forward movement, but it's got to have an assist to help it keep the travel straight all the way through the cut. With through-cut molding, it's best to make adjustments to all 4 pressure roller posts as you go to avoid overstressing the infeed and outfeed rollers. For example, when you've reached roughly the halfway point of your cut process, use the included wrenches to loosen and then raise the infeed and outfeed rollers. Make sure that you adjust the posts equally, which you can tell by counting the number of threads visible here. Take a few rotations from each post and then tighten the lock nut. Without lowering your cutter, run a pass to ensure that there's proper downward and feed pressure. Then continue running your cut passes. You may want to make this adjustment another time as you run deeper through the cuts to ensure that you have smooth material feed without overstressing your rollers. The G1037Z is perfectly blended to give you the planing power you need, as well as the capability to produce your own custom moldings. And we just want to say thank you for choosing Grizzly products for your shop. Log on to grizzly.com to see our full line of molding knife options for your projects today.